In my decade on the bench, I've tried to treat all who come before me fairly and with respect.
After more than 3 hours of listening, Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch finally spoke at his confirmation hearing, touting his family and Colorado roots.
To my teenage daughters watching out west, bathing chickens for the county fair, devising ways to keep our determined pet goat out of the garden.
Monday was the first of 4 days of hearings for Gorsuch, who's likely to take on the legacy of the late Justice Antonin Scalia. Republican senators stressed the importance of this appointment.
Arguably the most important thing the U.S. Senate will do this year is confirm the next Supreme Court justice.
Still upset about former President Obama's High Court nominee, Merrick Garland, who didn't get a hearing from Senate Republicans last year, there were some tense moments for Democrats.
Your nomination is part of a Republican strategy to capture our judicial branch of government. That is why the Senate Republicans kept this Supreme Court seat vacant for more than a year.
In these opening remarks, lawmakers questioned how Gorsuch would handle issues like Roe v. Wade, the Second Amendment, and immigration. Republicans praised him as a staunch follower of the Constitution.
He has the highest level of professional qualifications, including integrity, competence, and temperament.
But it's that same originalist commitment that worries some Democrats, who say that if we still follow the Constitution word for word,
then we would still have segregated schools and bans on interracial marriage. Women wouldn't be entitled to equal protection under the law, and government discrimination against LGBT Americans would be permitted.
At the same time, on the House side, FBI Director James Comey was in the hot seat and confirmed for the first time publicly that his agency is investigating potential links between the Trump campaign and the Russian government.
I have been authorized by the Department of Justice to confirm that the FBI, as part of our counterintelligence mission, is investigating the Russian government's efforts to interfere in the 2016 presidential election.
Comey testified before a congressional hearing dealing with Russian meddling in the presidential election. House Intelligence Chair Devin Nunes said they haven't found any proof of collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign. The head of the FBI and National Security Agency also contradicted President Trump's claims that Obama ordered wiretapping of Trump Tower before the election.
We know there was not a physical wiretap of Trump Tower. However, it's still possible that other surveillance activities were used against President Trump and his associates.
NSA Director Mike Rogers added that they didn't uncover any evidence to back up the president's accusation. Both the FBI and NSA held back in releasing details of their investigation until the reports are complete. And in the Senate,
we hold different political and religious views, but we are united in our love.
The Supreme Court confirmation hearings continue through Thursday, with Gorsuch taking questions on the stand today. A vote in the full Senate is expected in mid-April. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Thanks, Jenna. Pat, quite a busy week on Capitol Hill.
Well, there's so much at stake. This election was about the consequences. The thing that people were concerned about is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has tilted to the left. They have restricted religion. They have opened the doors to every kind of bizarre sexual activity. They have literally destroyed the religious framework of our nation. It isn't they've given liberty, they have given license to incredible groups. And based on those decisions, educators particularly have gone on a vendetta against people of faith. It is unbelievable. And now's the chance to change the balance. There will be at least 2 more vacancies on the court, without question. One is talking about retiring, although he's in relatively good health, but he's over 80 and he decides it's time to quit. Another is an octogenarian, but also extremely ill, and you just wonder, you know, she sleeps during a lot of the hearings and things like that. And sooner or later, this lady is going to have to retire, and that means another vacancy, which would mean, folks, for the next 30 years or so, there would be a Supreme Court that would uphold the Constitution and uphold the founding principles of our nation. It is a very important thing. The Constitution was never intended to be a living document that was at the mercy of the whim of the political correctness of the day, whatever it happened to be. And I know one judge some years ago said the Supreme Court is whatever the judges say it is. Well, I mean, the Constitution is whatever the judges say it is. That, in my opinion, is wrong. And Antonin Scalia was strong on this. Gorsuch is strong on it. And there are other, I think the next guy coming up is probably going to be William Pryor, who is a distinguished jurist on the circuit down in Georgia and in Alabama, wherever it is, it's in the South. And I think that he would probably be the next in line. And again, a strict constitutional. We're talking about a major shift in our country, a major shift. And all kinds of good things will flow from it, which means that the Republicans of the Congress, if it takes the so-called nuclear option, they've got to take it. Whatever it takes to get that thing done, they have to do it. The same thing in the House and Senate. They must take charge of the budget. They must bring this incredibly profligate government we've got under control. They've got to do it. Talking about draining the swamp, it's got to be done. Now, the voters have given them this opportunity, and the American people are going to be looking at them and say, now's your chance. You've got to fight for it, and you've got to be strong, and you've got to make it happen. And if it takes tough work, then get tough and talk tough and act tough and make it happen. Whew. So much for that. All right, John, what's next?